Go Canada! And you have to say, that was the most unconventional way to win the tournament. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I know it's been a few days out from the 2021 IIHF World Championships, I meant to say, the International Ice Hockey Federation. But let's talk about Team Canada and their most unconventional way to winning the championship. I always do say that the World Hockey Championships, that always happen, after when the Stanley Cup Playoffs begin, that basically you get the best of whoever is remaining that's not in the playoffs that is willing to go overseas to play and represent their country. And actually, one Calgary Flame, you're going to have to wonder, will this elevate his stock a lot more? Would this be something to get excited about in terms of talking about Andrew Mangiapane? Also, you call Dylan Dubé also was cited to go over. This tournament was held in Latvia, and it got discerning when we talk about Latvia here shortly, but Dylan Dubé was also slated to go play for Team Canada, but he suffered an injury at the end of the season. So the only Calgary Flame that played for Team Canada was Andrew Mangiapane. I do understand that Connor Mackey also played for the USA, the Americans. So yeah, if you look at this tournament, I'm going to say it was the most unconventional way for a hockey team, and especially Team Canada, to win it. Because ultimately, yes, Canada won the championship, but usually we do it by winning dominantly in the round robin, and it definitely didn't look like that was going to happen, as Canada was in Group B in this tournament. They were also in there with the Americans, the United States, Finland, Germany, Kazakhstan. Latvia was the hosts, Norway, and Italy. And there was the one game in the preliminary round that definitely turned out to be a big win against an unlikely opponent. But it did start off very disconcerting for Team Canada, as we lost 2-0 to the host Latvians. Yes, you heard that right. Canada lost 2-0 to Latvia in hockey. I mean, that definitely... I always expect Canada to lose to a country, you're like, what? In soccer? But in hockey, I was like, oh boy, it's going to be a long tournament. And then the next game, Canada played, they lost 5-1 to the United States. That I can kind of accept, because the U.S. is definitely also one of the big six, as they call, for the powerhouse nations for hockey. So we lost 5-1 to the U.S. And then the third game we lost, this also made it very concerning. And this is where Canada made history, is that the first game was on May 21st. The second game was on May 23rd, where we played Latvia, then the U.S. And then on May 24th, we lost 3-1 to Germany. Ooh. Lost 3-1 to Germany. However, the next day, or 2 days later, on May 26th, Canada finally won their first game by defeating Norway 4-2. That's a little more like it, but it felt like we barely beat Norway. And then this game was huge, because if you look at the standings when they reseeded the top four teams in each pool, we had to take this game as we won 4-2 against Kazakhstan on May 28th. And this is why it was a big game, big win. And then May 30th, it felt like things were starting to get back to normal, as we beat Italy 7-1. That's definitely more like it. Italy can beat us in soccer, but as long as we beat them in hockey, we'll have that. And then that's when Andrew Mangiapane actually started scoring a few goals. And then the last game in the round robin, we lost 3-2 in Finland. And I think it wasn't a shootout, but that we can accept because that's one of the powerhouse nations. So if you look at the pool, well, the U.S. finished first, followed by Finland, Germany, and then Canada. As the United States, they had 18 points in first place, as they were 6-1, 6 wins, 1 loss. And then Finland was second with 4 wins. They lost twice in overtime. Overtime. They won twice in overtime. Once they lost in overtime, but they had 17 points. And then third place was Germany. Germany actually was in third place, all in 7 games. They won 4 games and they lost 3 for 12 points. And then Canada. This was definitely strange to see Canada not in first place in the pool, or even second, as they won 3. They lost 1 in overtime to Finland, and they lost 3, so they were 3-1 for 10 points. But this is where that win against Kazakhstan was big, because Kazakhstan, they won 2, but both of those games were in overtime, and they lost 3. And then, they won 2 in overtime, 2 in regulation, and lost 3 in overtime. They had 10 points, but Canada thankfully beat that game against Kazakhstan, where Canada would have missed it altogether. That's unlike Canada in hockey. I mean, once again, temper it a little bit with this tournament. You don't necessarily get the best of the best, because you get best whoever's remaining, and that's willing to make the call. That got knocked out of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Then the host Latvians, they won 2, including 1 against Canada. Hard to believe. And then they lost 3 in overtime and lost 2 in regulation. They got 9 points. Norway was in 7th, and they actually won 2, including 1 in overtime, lost 4. 1, 2. It's confusing how the international does it. They won 2 in regulation, 1 in overtime, and lost 4 for 8 points. Then Italy. Thanks for coming out. They were 0-7 for 0 points. So we made it to the quarterfinals. I felt like we just barely did, but I felt like Canada was getting it all together after the round robin, which was very, very unorthodox. So given that Canada was last in Group A, or Group B, we took on first place in Group A, which they call them Republic of Russia, or the ROC. And then how it was received, you had Finland play the Czech Republic in the quarters, and Finland won 1-0. And then it was Germany and playing Switzerland. Germany won 3-2, and that was in a shootout. And then you had the United States play Slovakia, and they won 6-1. And then we played Russia, ROC, and we won that one 2-1 in overtime, thanks to Andrew Mangiapane scoring that goal. So then that set up the semifinals, where you had Finland playing Germany, and you had Canada play the United States, and ultimately Finland beat Germany 2-1. And we got revenge on the U.S. in the semifinals, as we beat them 4-2, which set up a Canada-Finland gold medal game. The United States and Germany played for third place, and the United States won 6-1, but Canada, we won against Finland 3-2 in overtime to get the championship. So ultimately, we did just enough in the round robin to ultimately win the championship. And I guess you could say, given how Canada did it, that kind of makes up the other times when Canada dominates in the round robin and then lose in the playoff round. I mean, it's a single game elimination. But ultimately, Canada won in the most unorthodox way possible. I mean, Canada was led by Connor Brown, who had 2 goals, 14 assists for 16 points, and ultimately, Andrew Mangiapane won the MVP, and he was definitely huge for Team Canada, especially scoring some big clutch goals and setting up goals. In the 7 games that he played, he had 7 goals, 4 assists for 11 points for a +6. And I'm going to say, definitely, given how Andrew Mangiapane played in this tournament, you definitely got to say he solidifies himself as a top 6 forward for the Calgary Flames, or maybe even the top 3. Because actually, I'll bring out the stats, and although this season was also, unique with, given the competition, we didn't get to play everybody in the NHL. But when you look at Andrew Mangiapane and his career statistics, I mean, he's played 178 games in the NHL, obviously all with the Calgary Flames. He scored 43 goals, 34 assists for 77 points and 56 penalty minutes, and he played in 15 Stanley Cup playoff games with 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. But this past season, with the 56 games, given we only played the North All Canadian Division, he had 18 goals, 14 assists for 32 points and 24 penalty minutes. And then the season before, when he played every game, because we only played 68 in the pandemic-shortened season, the COVID-shortened season, in 2019-20 in 68 games, he had 17 goals, 15 assists for 32 points, so, and 18 penalty minutes. And then he had the 10 playoff games where he had 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. And I do remember in the bubble that Andrew Mangiapane was one of the players that stood out. That includes the games that were played against the Winnipeg Jets in the play-in series and the Dallas Stars. That, given the experience I think Andrew Mangiapane has picked up from this World Hockey Championship, would it be not unreasonable to suggest that he could potentially be a 30-goal scorer and 70 points if you prorate this past season's numbers? I mean, it kind of might have got fudged that we played only the North All Canadian division, but how Andrew Mangiapane looked in junior when he played for the Barrie Colts. I mean, he had two 100-point seasons, including 15-16 and his last season in the Ontario Hockey League. In 59 games, he had 51 goals, 55 assists for 106 points, 50 penalty minutes, and then in 15 OHL playoff games, he had 10 goals, 11 assists for 21 points for 14 penalty minutes. I'm going to say I was excited. I mean, great Canada won, go Canada's always have to say, but given how it was the most unorthodox way that Canada won the tournament, Andrew Mangiapane was a big part of it in the round robin, and then scoring some clutch goals for the Team Canada in the playoffs. That I think that experience is going to be valuable for the Calgary Flames going forward, and it's going to be interesting to see how it comes down to negotiations, because he is in his last year of his contract for next season, for 21-22, when he had that arbitration case in off-season last season, where he's going to be making $2.425 million, I think, almost just under $2.5 million. He'll be a restricted free agent with arbitration rates. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes, and then next season as well. Matthew Tkachuk's going to be up for contract renewal as well. He's still going to be a restricted free agent, and he's going to make $9 million next season, where he gets a qualifying offer of at least that much coming into the following season. So that's all I have for this video, just talking about Team Canada, how we just did it the most unconventional way of winning the gold medal in the IIHF World Hockey Championships. Just when the rest of the hockey world thinking, all right, Canada is down, we did just enough to get in, and we won when it mattered the most. But how Andrew Mangiapane looked, I'm definitely excited for the future, and he's definitely proven to be, a top six forward that is that complete player that you can also say maybe he'd be one of those Selke players as well that could be looked upon in the future, a future Selke winner. Him with Michael Backlund makes a great checking forward for the Calgary Flames. So I just say, what do you think of Team Canada and Andrew Mangiapane and how he looked in Latvia? So anyways, I'd like to say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitman, Roughnecks, and St. Peters, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel. I recap games and stories. But I also do a variety of non-sports content. Like I do have some personal vlogs, attempt at comedy, and I do share my experience same on the road or at a sporting event, and I've been doing some more blogging on the go. I've definitely, in that department, I've been looking back on schools from the past that I have attended, and I do have a few more schools that I plan to revisit and vlog in the next couple weeks, so watch for that. In the meantime, before we're waiting for the off-season to really begin with the draft, free agent frenzy, and then hopefully CFL season gets started. Be a little later for obvious reasons. We've been going through what we've been going through for the last year and a half. So anyways, like I say, if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you need to do. Just make sure you hit like and subscribe. I also have my other social links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. I'm going to say, go Flames go, and go Canada, Team Canada. We won the IIHF World Championships, but we definitely really had to earn it. Over in Latvia, and thanks to Andrew Mangiapane, I think we definitely need to find a way to keep this guy long term, given how he's showing in the playoffs last season and with Team Canada. It just gets me excited for the potential of it, and still give any hopes and dreams. And then with everything kind of going back to normal, looking at the strength of the Pacific Division, I think Calgary will have a better chance of getting into the playoffs in 2022. So as long as thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.